Welcome to the start of a pretty much new anime review series, though it's a re-review of a series I've actually reviewed before. What series is it? Naruto Shippuden! Yep. Unlike the first time I viewed this series, where for the first video I did for it, basically the second part of my Naruto review series, I reviewed the entire first season. This one I'm not gonna make the same mistake that much anyways. This is a little over halfway into the very first arc of Naruto Shippuden, the Kazekage rescue arc. This is roughly the first 18 episodes of the series. Now, for the first portion of this is like two different plots go at the same time. Now, I should point out though, there's actually a change of animation. Yes. Though the series kind of starts out very weirdly, of course. Yes. With a preview of episode 51, where we see Naruto in his post time skip attire, which is the black top, like black shoulders, orange, and then basically the same pants with pre-time skip. Sakura's new attire. We also see the first appearance of Sai in the series. He does not speak, but this technically is Sai. And then we see Sasuke Uchiha in his post time skip attire, where Naruto is, of course, chasing around. I at least also got praised, but the animation also has changed as well because the characters' faces have become very shiny. Yes, it's a mild distraction. Yes, they're so smooth and, like I said, very shiny, which is different than how they were originally depicted. And it seems like we're almost like a different camera angle, and it seems like this series integrates some CGI, little bits here and there, mostly in the background where they integrate CGI, but it's not too distracting. Mostly it's like a lot of into the walls, make it a little more realistic, and you see like a big fisheye cam where you see Naruto running down a hallway, which great look for this series. And this sequence ends with basically Naruto, Sakura, and Sai, where this big hole basically run through, and then of course we see Sasuke basically about to draw his sword after Naruto basically told Sasuke, yeah, he was right about him. And then he just jumps on in front of him, basically puts his arm around his neck, like facing the other way, and he's about to take out his sword. And then we see like the inside of Naruto's body, where the nine-tailed fox is about to creep out of his cage. And by the way, this is the only time this is like, well, he does it also in episode 51, but where he just starts doing bubbles, like, how the heck is doing this? And then he mentions, like, oh, Sharingan. Last person used that on me was Mandarin Chia, one of the early founders of the village. And Sasuke is like, who is that? And I don't care. And that's how the sequence ends. Yeah, I do have a theory of why they did this for the very first episode of the series. Because I think the animators were under pressure from higher ups. They have to show Sasuke in the first episode of the series. That's probably my guess. But if you wonder when they're going to get to this point, we had to wait 50 episodes after this to finally get to the point where this episode has its opening sequence. Like, where the heck this place is, yeah, it's not specifically revealed until later. So, first we see Tsunade, and we see Snotty in her office. Now, her appearance, no change there. Suzune, I don't think it changed her look. Sakura's look is simple. She has the same top. She replaced the bomb happer outfit with this sort of pinkish attire, and she also is wearing gloves. There's a reason why she's wearing gloves, because she's got monsters making she's want to ruin her lovely hands. Yep. And Konohama and his group have become Genin. Yep. And Iparu, the closeted pervert, has become their Johnny instructor. Yep. Now, yeah, I get the reason, I get why they did this, because now, this is not the fault of the anime, this is basically have manga too. My guess is the reason why they did this because it's been a couple years. I'm sure they probably graduated at some point, so it made perfect sense, basically, for them to do this. So they're now basically full-fledged shinobi. They replaced the goggles they're wearing with ninja headbands. Also, Konohamaru is still wearing his scarf where it's like really long. In case you're wondering, currently he still wears his scarf. Why he wears this scarf, as far as I know, they never had a story that delved into why he wears this scarf for, or why he constantly wears it. And when I originally was younger, it was really long, where it dragged like a cape, and then when he got older, it got shorter and basically acted like a regular scarf. Yeah. And their mission was simply put to catch a cat, though they also ended up wrecking a bunch of stuff while they're at it too. And then of course, well, Sakura of course basically, and of course Ibarus basically chastises them. Even as they completed their mission, they handed off the cat. Of course, they did cause some ruckus, but they accomplished their mission. We see Sakura basically going to get some mail from, or basically from Snot, from Snot to go get the mail at the front gate. And they get there. Before they get there, Naruto returns to the village with Jiraiya. And we see Naruto's new look. Yeah. Love new look. And he basically climbs the pole. He says, I'm home. Yep. And he sees that Tsunadi's got her face in the mount. And this is the first time we see it. Because it's never specifically revealed why it took so long for her to put her face in the mount. Because in the case of Kakashi, from what I heard, he put his face in the mouth not long after he officially became Hokage, and it was kind of the same thing with Naruto himself. So, and then we see that Sakura is the first person he runs into, and of course she shows up the sexy jutsu. Yeah, and well, even though he's gotten stronger, well, and of course Sakura shows off her monster strength and shows the fact she's gotten really strong. So, meets up with Tsunade. This, of course, happens in just the first episode. And then they get to the office, and of course, he covers like, yep, mission accomplished, completed training. And of course, Kakashi, of course, well, not Kakashi, Jiraiya, basically just, well, falls into Tsunade's office, where mission accomplished, like, be your opponent. And of course, they open the door, and you think this opponent, nope, not the opponent. It's basically Shikamaru and Tamari. And I think this is so hilarious, the fact that Naruto be teasing something that actually does happen. Yeah, where he sees the Shikamaru and Tamari together, and she says, hey Shikamaru, what's going on you two? You two on a date? Even I thought that was still hilarious. He's like, no, I'm her escort. And his outfit didn't really change very much at all. I mean, the only thing that changed by him is that he got a new shirt and pants. That's pretty much it. Also, his ninja headband is simply put part of his shirt now. Yeah. Tamari. Yeah, her outfit is simply like a black one-piece shirt with a red sash. And her... Also, and this is quite interesting though, apparently almost everybody's ninja headbands all become like, all have different colors. A lot of them are black or... they're like different colors. Like Naruto's is black. He actually doesn't explain this until I think it was episode 7. He explains his new attire. So his opponent is Kakashi. And he's like, oh, hi Kakashi sensei. And he says, I got something for you. Jiraiya's new book. And this was so hilarious. Kakashi's like, oh, thank you. He's like, thank you. He's like really interested. He's like, it's a boring book. And of course, Jiraiya's like, really? You don't know basically the story. It's something related to basically him being a writer. In case you wondered, does Jiraiya really much do anything in these episodes? No, not really. And then, of course, Kakashi starts reading the book right away. And then he said, okay, you have to complete a bell training mission. Yes, because you got to test out your skills. Basically what you've been up to for 2.5 years. So, get the bells away from Kakashi, and begins very similarly to what happened before. The only difference is that Naruto actually did the Shadow Clone Jutsu first, and then he's basically trying to trap Kakashi. He says, I didn't say go yet. And of course, well, he uses a demon shuriken, and of course Naruto, who had the real one, but I was like, and Tsunade's like, not bad. Yep, and then of course, oh, let's have a fake thing of Sasuke basically cover kunai. And Sakura's like, you're not there with Sasuke. Or him hiding in the earth, which I thought was so hilarious. Though Naruto looked like he about to fall for the same tricks. Like, nope, not the same tricks. And eventually, they do beat him. How did they beat Kakashi? By deceiving him. Where he's like, hey guys, Sensei, the final plot twist of makeout tactics. He's like, oh no, no, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to hear it. He's like, oh crap, but the Shuriken can see it. So he closes his eyes, and then all of a sudden he hears bells. And Sakura and Naruto got them, thus ending the mission. Mission cleared, and they're pretty much now dubbed Team Kakashi. They're basically treated as equals, not like student sensei, but of course Kakashi's still called Kakashi Sensei. And before we move on to what happens next, meanwhile in the Sand Village, Gaara has, who since, of course they explained that pretty much that Gaara's become Kazekage, Tamari and Conqueror become Chunin, and Neji's become Jonin. Almost everybody else is basically promoted to Chunin. So Gaara's basically in his office first. He do paperwork, and looked like he completed his paperwork pretty quickly. It seems like he takes his job really seriously. It looks like when we see the first appearance of two brand new characters, Deidara and Sasori. Yep, and well, Deidara refers to Sasori as Sasori, my man. He's not the only one he does it to. He also does it to Kinemaru too. He refers to him as my man. I don't think he refers to anybody else by that, but he's like, and of course, Sasori's like, don't keep me waiting. Because he's all about keeping a schedule. And then, of course, Deidara basically spends the next several episodes, well, take out some sentries, and of course, well, it also turns out that the captain of their council, the one who charges security, one who told him basically about the Katsuki and the fact what happened with Tachi and Kinemaru, they were two identified, but they didn't know about Sasori. Nope. And you have all the people stationed there, and of course some of them were all taken out by Sasori really easily. Then Deidara basically taking some sentries in the sky, and he has a big aerial battle with Gaara. Gaara, of course, apparently decided to take the time to take off his Kazekage robes to basically go to his training garb and start a big brawl with him in the sky, which ends with him being defeated. Though he ends up also protecting the village from Deidara's bomb, is his C4 bombs. Yeah, from what I read, he actually stole this when he abandoned his village. What village is he from? He is from the village hidden in the stone. He is by far the only person from that village to become part of this group. And of course, then we have Conqueror who chases after Sasori. Of course, he doesn't know Sasori. Of course, Conqueror, post-timescape, has become one of Gaara's bodyguards. And of course, he's referred to as Lord Conqueror because he's the Kazekage's brother. Yep, so he chases after him by himself, and he gets to fight with Sasori, and Sasori beats him after a short period of time. The incident poison, though, he also takes time to take a piece of his clothes before he gets passed out. Though he's brought to the Sand Village, and then of course, well, he tells his former Jonin instructor, Bute, I think his name is. He tells him like who's responsible for this, and he's like, "Oh crap!" And then he goes to see the honored elders, Chio and her brother Idu, and basically they're informed basically what's going on. Yeah, this is the first time you see him, and she's like, "Oh, I would love to see my grandson's face again." And then when he comes in, he's like, your grandson's part of the Katsuki. He's like, she's probably thinking, oh, what? Yep. And then, of course, we leave the Conquer before we continue with that. Then we have Naruto basically eating ramen because he really wants to eat. Of course, Kashi's like, nah, I got Dashi for team. Of course, Sakura passed an opportunity to eat with Naruto. And then Naruto goes and he eats for free because, well, of course, the old man doesn't recognize the first, but, oh, Naruto, you've grown. And of course, while he eats the bowl of ramen, it's not something different. And of course, the old man's like, really trying to no, it's not that. And he thought though that in the case of Iruka, who actually does return, his appearance no change, the same exact appearance. He says he hoped the next time he would eat with them after he got Ninja Headband would be when he became Chunin, and he is perfectly accepted of that. He also explains the reason why he changed the clothes because apparently the training was so intense, his jacket was barely like intact. It was actually torn, and the cloth for his ninja headband he was given was pretty much utterly eviscerated. So they had to give himself a brand new cloth ninja headband, which apparently has got like two tails behind it, kind of similar to what Neji's got for his ninja headband. So basically, with Gar kidnapped, eventually, well, they go visit Tsunade, and before they visit Tsunade, we see him back in his room. First time he's back there in 2 years. And it's like so dusty, so he's gonna take time to clean it up. But probably next day. And then of course, while he goes to Tsunade for a mission, of course, she thinks, oh no, let's not do a mission. Of course, and want something more dangerous. And that's when the hawk from the Sand Village shows up, comes in and informs what happened with Gaara. And of course, they're available. It's a mission. So they go and they rush the village. It takes them 3 days. And of course, on the way, Tamari, who leaves the village, goes back home. They run into Tamari on the way, and of course, she comes with them. Though she does lead them to the village pretty easily, thanks to being her home. And of course, when they get there, Sakura starts treating Kankuro right away for his poison, and then Shio starts attacking Kakashi. And of course. And it's like, White Fang is like, no, isn't it? It's not him. He looks like him, but he isn't. And Naruto asked the obvious question, Kakashi Sensei, who's the White Fang? And Kakashi's like, it's going to be hard to say this, but he was my father. Yep, his father. Yeah, the White Fang was his father. They mentioned him several times over this series. Yeah, that theme comes to Kakashi in the original Naruto series. They barely mentioned exactly, aside from the fact he was a student of the 4th Hokage, nothing much was mentioned about him in the fact that we got a Sharingan eye. They explain more about that in this series. Yeah, though they explain more about what happened to White Fang later on. I'm not going to talk about it right now, we'll talk about it later. So, Sakura basically treats Kankuro's poison, the poison Kankuro's had, and he basically saves his life, and then of course, Kankuro sees Naruto, and basically tells him that basically he's going to save Gaara. And of course, well, they got to go, but they don't know where they are. So, of course, look up Kankuro took a piece of Sasori's clothing he was wearing. So Kakashi's like, okay, it's time to summon the hounds. Unleash the hounds. So he summons his ninja hounds, step up the cloth, and Paku was the one who finds it. Though, he's like, oh, hi, Naruto. And of course, he's like, hi, Paku. Hi, Paku. He was like, we'll catch up with later. And they pretty much spend the night at the Sand Village. And of course, it looks like Kakashi stayed in the same room as Naruto, which not surprising there. So, and of course, they find out where he is, and they find out the place where they're at. And of course, they race there. Well, before they leave, Tamari wants to go, but nope, the higher-up's like, you've been assigned Border Patrol. Yep, because the higher-ups, a couple of higher-ups are very pig-headed. All because their leader's gone missing. And they're worried about what happened with the 3rd Kazekage, what happened with the 5th one. It won't. Don't worry about that. And of course, everybody except one person turns on the idea that she replaced the Kazekage. Like, no, he's not dead yet. Wait until he returns. Unless you find a dead body, then talk about it, but not now. And of course, then Kankuro basically goes to the meeting, and of course, he basically tries to beat up the guy who tries to dare insult Gaara. And everyone's like, stop, Kankuro. Your anger is perfectly understandable, but violence is not going to help it. And of course, he begs for their help to save his little brother, Gaara. And of course, Tsunade basically has got a bad omen, decided to send out first it sounds like Team Guy. Well, first, like, oh yeah, of course, this wrong room is basically Team Ed room. Nope, not them. That's the only appearance they make in this particular set of episodes. They appear like 3 episodes for the first 2 episodes, and they appear in this this particular one. And of course, then we see the Team Guy. Now, Guy, no change with him. Rock Lee, because he was Chonin, he wears a Chonin vest. Aside from that, no other change made with him. Neji, brand new, still same color outfit. He has long sleeves now, and he's no longer wearing shorts. He's wearing pants now. Ten is no longer wearing her garb that she was wearing in part 1. She basically wears like a white top and like black pants. Still has the same buns in her hair. But aside from that, and of course, she's now carrying like more scrolls on her. Also, Conqueror did change too. I forgot to mention this. His outfit is slightly changed. The symbol that was on his belly is no longer there. And he no longer carries one of the puppets with him like he was before. Now he is carrying them in scrolls, which, okay, that's probably a little more easy to do than, let's say, carrying a giant puppet around with you. So they go out and basically, and then of course the Akatsuki, of course, well, Data and Saucer, who had taken their time, then they spend the next 3 days simply trying to extract Shikaku, which they eventually do. And then of course the underground, and we have Team Guy and Team Kakashi arrive at location. It takes them a while though. At first, Team Guy had by Kasumi. Though when they beat Kasumi, after they briefly had him, after having briefly trapped the rest of Team Guy, which looks very similar to what happened with Kakashi during the Land of Waves arc. Well, because him and Zabuza, both members of Seven Swords. Turns out this actually was not him. It was somebody else. Somebody had no idea who the heck he is. And then, of course, you also have Team Kakashi and Chio take on Itachi. And they battle him for a bit, and it turns out this is actually not Itachi. Turns out it's actually missing the Disney Johnny that were missing when Gara was attacked. Yeah, and as far as I know, that in case you're curious, though, do the Sand Village get upset the fact that one of their Jonin got killed by a leaf ninja? No punishments. This is barely brought up at all. Of course, Sasori's happy that the people who were sacrificed were in fact his own men. And of course, while Itachi and Kazumi had to give up 30% of their chakra in order to, well, delay them in order to complete the sequence. And of course, then eventually they both arrive at the location. Neji looks inside and he sees the 10-tailed statue. Yeah, he sees it, but he does know what it is. Naruto kept shaking it because he really was worried about Gaara. And they do see Gaara on the ground. Of course, he sees the eyes of the 10 tails. He sees the illusions of the Akatsuki. The Akatsuki at this point had this thing, and they did this throughout most of the series until toward the very end. They had this sort of hologram jutsu where they could appear in dislocation from various different locations. Not really sure why in the world they decided to do that, but they did. It's something they actually started to do toward the end of the original Naruto anime, and here they kind of pick it up here. Okay, fine. And of course, well, then they decided to figure a way to break, and of course, Guy here is breaking it by punching the rock. That is what turns out is actually a 5 superior, and of course, Neji finds the seals with his Byakugan, and his Team Guy is sent to remove them. While Akashi was the other one, and of course, Sakura uses her monster strength to break the boulder, which, okay, that makes perfect sense. And how they make sure that they all on time? Shortwave radios, which the last time this thing was seen was way back in, I think it was like episode 7 of the original Naruto anime. Yeah, that was the last time these shortwave radios were seen. Why the heck they took so long to bring them back? No idea. Probably because Kishiro didn't like drawing very much. So they find one like a tree side of a cliffside, like one on a rock, and of course like one, like they're like 5 different places, like, and of course they all get there, and Rock Lee has trouble finding his, so luck of Neji's able to find his. And they remove all 5 of them, and then of course, Sakura punches the rock, and of course, they all see Gaara lying on the ground. Of course, Naruto is unhappy the fact seeing Daidara sitting on him. And then we also see apparently like, oh no, we have these various things popping up to take on Team Guy. And that's where we leave off there. Great episodes. Definitely looking forward to discussing the rest. Only about 14 episodes to discuss. I was thinking of basically doing like the whole arc, but I figured though, why don't I just split this up? Yeah. So yeah, that's it for Sigil Review. Stay tuned for my review. We'll do next be a Comic Corner. Yep, see you next video. Bye.